The kidneys and part of the ureters are retroperitoneal. So notice that while the intestines are free to move within the peritoneal cavity, the kidneys and part of the ureters are not. They're actually behind the parietal peritoneum. And so therefore one must peel away the peritoneum before the kidneys are free to move and before one can see them well. Also note that, here's an extreme example, but there is very often a difference in the urinary systems between males and females. So for example, here notice the size of the bladder. Now this is not universally true. There are females with large bladders, but because the male pelvis lacks a uterus, an extra organ which the female pelvis must accommodate, that the bladder in males can be larger here than the bladder in females. Now here are extreme examples, but nevertheless that is often the case. There are 4 organs of the urinary system. There is the kidney, where urine is produced as blood is filtered. So we see that there is a renal artery and vein which enter the kidney. Blood enters, maybe between 1/5 and even 1/4 of the blood leaving the left ventricle at rest enter the kidney, then returns through the renal vein to the inferior vena cava, but from this blood urine is produced, which will then pass out the ureter. There are 2 kidneys held in place by the peritoneum and by adipose which surrounds them. If one were to section the kidney, one would notice a color difference between the cortex here, which is lighter, and the medulla, which is darker in color. And a section could even reveal the triangular pyramids which make up the medulla. Once urine is produced in the kidney, it will then flow through the ureters, which enter the bladder. They enter obliquely, so that as urine accumulates, it will not back up towards the kidneys. And then the bladder can eliminate the urine through the one single urethra. So while there is a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, there is one single bladder and one single urethra. Now this is a male cat, and here is a female cat. And note that there's the kidney, the ureter, the bladder, and the urethra. Notice that there is another organ in the female pelvis which males lack, the uterus. The reproductive system is the middle system in between the colon of the digestive system and the bladder of the urinary system. And so there's this one extra organ in the female pelvis. But here is the kidney, the ureter, here the bladder, and the urethra.